Well, hi there, folks. This is your host, ID Jester. Welcome back to Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit Enhanced SHCB Rules with your host, ID Jester. We're playing scenario number 1488 at Zon. So, hopefully, you checked out our preview episodes where we looked at what rules we're using to enhance the starter kit. We're using S for snipers, H for heat of battle, C for concealment, and B for bypass movement. So adding a few of the full ASL rules into the starter kit rules for this scenario. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. So let's get right into it if you don't mind. So one thing of note, I did rearrange some of the squads a little bit around. Oh, it's so hard to decide. I'm thinking just as a German player, where, when he go, what when he do, and wanted to change and then change back and change. So finally decided to settle on this. And then as Jack, one of my longtime ASL subscribers here, pointed out, that the half hexes are actually on board here. All board half hexes are on board. So the American player must start off board. So he can't actually set up in any of the half hexes. So I had to redesign where they were going to enter from. So we got a few little minor things left to do here. We've got some concealment counters to add to some of our units here. There we go. That should be enough. Nope, just one, please. Just one. So there we go. Put those on there. So the German player doesn't actually know who's set up where, what location. Is a pretty good idea. Now we need to set up our snipers. So German player or defender first in this case. Let's see. Oh, before I do that, one thing of note, I didn't actually realize this when I was setting up the scenario, but the American forces in Group 1, which is the fuchsia hexes, actually enter on or after turn 1 on the north edge in the pink hexes. So they actually enter on turn 1. The green or the lime hexes here, they don't actually enter on until turn number 2. So that's going to make it a little more interesting because the American player, we have to set up, the German player has to set up behind the blue line here. But if these units aren't coming on until the second turn, when it's the German player's turn 1 and they are able to move, they can actually move some units up and kind of restrict where they can go. So the American player needs to really secure some, probably I'm thinking this building here. So if any of these Germans decide to move up, he'll have some defensive fire or kind of sway them not to move up. So that's something the American player has to think about as well. Anyways, German player will set up his sniper. There are some rules on where you can set it up if these units were on the map board, but since everybody's off the map board, there are no restrictions on where the German player can set up. So I guess he's just going to set it up back here. 6. So what you don't want to have happen is start it too close to the edge and then have it just move off and be off the map board and have to reposition it that way. So we're going to start it back a little bit. We'll see how that goes. The American player is going to kind of do the same thing, I guess. He wants to kind of be in the middle of the group here. Hopefully, maybe a little bit more towards this side. I think he's thinking if he can damage some of these units, that would be awesome with this sniper. So again, if you hadn't watched our previous setup videos, we have got, where's our info? Here it is. Sniper setup for 4 for the Axis, 4 for the Allies. Of course, this is not built into the actual starter kit rules. This is our enhanced version. So I think with all of that said, um, I guess let me think about that before the American player does that. He is going to. So one thing that can happen is a sniper can actually attack another sniper if it happens to be close. If the American player decides to put his sniper counter up here, and none of his other units are here, and they activate it, let's say all of his units are kind of up here on the north end of the map board, and they activate the German sniper, and it goes, let's say it ends up going here, and this happens to be the closest unit, it's going to come over here and attack it. So the American player actually wants to have it somewhere where I think his units are going to be. It's going to have a chance of not. Let's see. That's going to be a good question. Where does he want to put it? Maybe over here, I'm thinking. Because if the German sniper activates over here, he'll probably have units. If it comes over this way, it could be a problem, but we shall see. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that, just for giggles there. All right, what else do we need to do? I think that's it. So just to refresh everyone's memory and myself, the American player, these are coming on in turn 1. These units will come on in turn 2 or later. They don't have to necessarily come on in turn 1. And their objective is to get off on these red hexes by the end of the scenario, which is 5.5 turns long. And if they can do that with getting a certain amount of victory points, I believe, let's take a look at our scenario card, which happens to be right here. There we are. See, I'm ready to go. So they need 7 or more victory points. Each squad's worth 2, blah, 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 blah. There we go. All right, so there's the actual scenario card there. All right. So I think we are ready to go. So rally phase, no rallies are going to happen. So we can just bypass that. In normal ASL, there's a few things that you can do that you can't do in the starter kit. So we're just going to bypass that and go on to the next prep fire. We have no prep fire. None of the units are on the map. Movement. Well, yes, we're going to move. So the American player has got a strategy, or hopefully going to have a strategy here. We shall see. He's going to activate just this bottom squad here. And he's going to use bypass movement right off the bat, because this hex is considered Woods hex. So he's going to bypass that hex along these 2 hex sides for 1 movement factor. And then nobody can see him, so no defensive fire. And then he's going to move into here for a 2nd movement factor. Again, no one can see him because the hill's in the way. So that's 2 movement factors. Now the American player has decided to throw smoke into I-9. So he's going to try and throw that adjacent. It costs 2 movement factors to do that. So he will roll a single die. He needs a 1, 2, or 3 for this to be successful. And if you watched our long way to go scenario 11 replay, you know that the Americans, when they don't have very much luck when they are throwing smoke. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. He rolled a 5, so it was unsuccessful. The unit either didn't have smoke or it was unsuccessful, but at least that's all he can do. So that was his 4 movement factors. So unfortunately, he will be done. Not exactly the great start that the Americans needed. So this squad is basically going to do the exact same thing. He's going to bypass H10, move into this hex. Um, interesting. Why are they keeping their... Okay, interesting. It didn't have the little counter on it. I was just wondering why it showed that. Um, so same maneuver for him, and he is also going to throw smoke up here. Try to anyways. Oh, wrong dice. I have to roll the single die. Come on. 1. Perfect. Excellent. All right, do we have a smoke counter anywhere? Smoke. Where's smoke? Here it is, smoke. Oh, I got to click it and then click and drag, I think is what I did wrong last time. There we go. We're going to clone that and then clone another group. All right, so he has successfully done that this time. So he's spent all his movement factors. All right. So American player will not activate this leader and this unit in this hex here. All right, so what they're going to do is they're going to bypass again along this hex side and this hex side and move into this hex right here. So that's 2 movement factors. They are then going to move up here for 2 more movement factors because they're going uphill. So that is 4 movement factors. So what I need to do is I actually need to check and see if smoke, and I don't believe it does, cancels because they had moved into the line of sight of possibly an enemy unit here. And let me check on that. I'll be right back. All right, I couldn't specifically see anything that showed that smoke would not block concealment loss, especially since this guy here can see him right down this way. I guess it didn't matter, but it's good to know always. So at this point, the German player would say, "Oh well, I have to make sure you actually have a unit there to see me." And what you would do is just take your concealment counter off for just a second and just show them, yep, there's a real unit. It's not a dummy or whatever. So as a German player, we want to, which one do we want to show them? We will show them that, we would just show them that, let's see, I'm trying to, yeah. We would just show them, we just show them this little 467 there for a second and say, yeah, all right. So he loses his concealment because he did that out in the open. And 6, that might have been a bad maneuver for him, but we shall see. At this point, the German player can decide if he wants to defensive first fire on him. If this unit decided to shoot at him, he'd be shooting +2 through the smoke, and he would get a -1 for the non-assault move. He would not get move in the open because the smoke would hinder that. This unit here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away, which happens to actually be his range too, 6 hexes. But he's going to be shooting through the orchard, so there's 2 hindrances. So it's going to be a +2, and it's a -1 for non-assault move as well. I think this guy will have more of an opportunity to be shooting at people. So we will. Do we want to lose our concealment to take this shot? It'd be a 4. Let's see, +2 -1. So it'd be a 4 column +1 attack. So sure, because he's not going to be able to do anything else. So he will lose his concealment, show that he has a leader there, and a 4-6-7. He's within normal range. It's a 4 column. Again, +2 hindrances. Actually, let's. Okay, I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in the way there underneath the sniper counter. I guess I could just mouse over it. That's one of the new features I haven't got used to yet in Vassals, so apologize for that. I'll just try to remember I don't need to get rid of the counters. So yeah, he'll take the attack. It's going to be a 4 column, and it's going to be a +1 to the die roll. He rolls an 8. Normally a counter, but the leader there prevents the counter. So 8 + 1 is 9 on the 4 column is going to be nothing. And he's marked with a first fire counter there. So that was, how many movement factors? That was 1, that was 2, 3, 4. Does the German do anything else? He had a plan, but now that this guy can see him, he's really debating on whether or not to go ahead with that plan. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 2 movement factors left. Yeah, he will go here for 6 movement factors, and he will be done. All right. For the very reason we talked about at the beginning of this episode, if he doesn't go there, when it's the Germans' turn, they could just move up, and be in position to really prevent the Americans from coming in. I'm surprised that they don't actually come in on the first turn. I guess they don't have to necessarily come in because it's turn 1 or later for these guys and turn 2 or later for those guys. It's just a little, and on or after turn 2, north edge. Yep. Which really can cause the American quite a problem. If the German player, if we wouldn't have stacked, if we would have put this stack up here and this one with this unit, we could move units up here, and then really have them have trouble trying to get on the board. Just putting a unit here, all of a sudden has line of sight over into there, I believe. So these units just trying to come here would have a problem. Anyways, okay, so that's their activation. And now we're going to move this unit here. All right, so he's going to do the same thing. Let me think about this. All right. This unit is going to bypass along this hex side and this hex side for 1 movement factor. Bypass the woods, and then he's going to go into here for a 2nd movement factor. And then for his 2 more movement factors, he is going to go up into the smoke here. And of course, he would then lose his concealment if the German player decides to let him know that, hey, we do have somebody that can see you. Unfortunately, we can't choose this unit because this unit doesn't have line of sight to him because this building blocks it. So we'd have to show him what was in this hex. So the question is, does the German player want to do that? And yes, I think he does. So he's going to show him that there is a 447 in there just for a second, just to let him know. And so he will lose his concealment counter. As he moves up into that hex, the German player can choose whether or not to defensive first fire. So we haven't really talked about strategies yet with concealment. One of the advantages of not shooting would be that he keeps his concealment counter, which means it's going to be harder for the American to hit them because their firepower will be half firepower when they're shooting at you. If I do defensive fire at them, it will be a +2 because of the smoke. It'll be a -1 for the non-assault move. And again, we don't get the move in the open because he's hiding in the smoke there. So it'd be a, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'd be a 6-column shot with a +1 to the die roll. Is that worth it? Otherwise, again, the advantage would be if we don't take the shot, his firepower at us would be half. So do we want to keep our concealment? Do we want to take a shot? I think we're going to take a shot. We're going to lose our concealment. And guys, you know, in the comments section, let me know what you guys think of some of my decisions here. Again, I'm trying to think both sides, so sometimes it's a little hard to change on the fly. You know, I'm moving as the Americans, trying to outsmart myself, and then I'm playing as the Germans to prevent that from happening. So, anyways, it's again a 6-column. It's going to be a +1 total on the dice. And he rolls an 8 +1 is 9. Not off to a very good start. And once again, we have a first fire on those units there. So, these guys are done with their movement factors. And that is it. So, let me look at the... Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want this one, right? Oh yes, residual firepower. We should have put that out there. That's true. So when we did this attack down there, there would have been a 2 firepower residual there, and another residual counter here. I'll have to remember that for next time. Always something I'm forgetting is that's why I'm trying not to go slow, but I'm also trying to think, what am I forgetting about? So at this point, they're done moving, so we're done with the movement phase. We can go on to the defensive fire phase. This guy can't see anybody over there. This guy is down in the valley. He can't see. This guy's already first fired. And, oh, you know what? When he shot the machine gun, it didn't keep rate of fire, did it? No, it did not. No, we haven't rolled low yet. We haven't rolled anything below a 3. So no rate of fire in the machine gun. This guy, we don't know what this is. This guy can't see him because these buildings block line of sight. And so I think defensive fire will be over. Just like that. A couple shots rang out. All right, next phase, advanced fire phase. So whenever you're dealing with smoke here, when you're shooting out of smoke, it's even worse than shooting through smoke or shooting into smoke. You actually have an extra +1 penalty, so it'd be a +3 to the dice roll from the smoke. If they shot at this hex, it would also be +3 because of the stone building. So already a +6 to shoot there, so he's not really interested in shooting there. Um, oh, you know what? This guy could shoot over at this guy, but I don't think he would want to do that to lose his concealment. So anyways, a +6 dice roll there is probably not something he wants to risk, with the sniper activation to happen more likely than him doing any kind of damage to that unit there. So he'll forego any kind of advanced fire, because it'll only be 4 firepower +6. A 4 +6. So even if you rolled a 2 +6 would be 8. Yeah. So no result that he could possibly get that would be worth it. And he would have a better chance of activating the German sniper, which he doesn't want to do. So he'll forego any advanced fire. Routes, at this point, no routes. So that's good for everyone. Advancing. Advancing, you say. Okay, smoke goes away. Oops. See, this is why I hate putting counters out there, because I always get them caught. These guys are going to advance into that hex. We got to get these guys up. If they advance up, they're going to lose their concealment counters. That would be a problem. We could separate them. I could put some pressure on them, though. I think I will advance, and they're going to advance here, and this guy's going to advance there, I think. Of course, they're going to lose their concealment counters. But let me think about that for a second here. That's quite a lot of firepower coming in on us, coming in on the German player there. Yeah, of course, he has to live through their defensive fire, but we shall see. Is it worth risking that? I think it is. I think it is. Because they also have to worry about this gun that's in with the bazooka too. Bummer. All right. So that's advancing there. These guys will advance here. And now they can see these guys. They know there's something possibly over there, but they don't lose their concealment. So now that's that. No close combat. And we'll check to see if any of them gain concealment, which they don't, because they're all within line of sight of the enemy. And some of them aren't even in concealing terrain. These guys are out in the open. So they won't gain any concealment terrain or concealment markers at the end of their turn. So we are moving on to the next phase. We're going to do the axis. We can remove the first fire counters. Get rid of those. There'll be counters everywhere by the time I'm done. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good start for the Americans. They've made it a couple 100 meters onto the board there. Now if they can solidify their position, we shall see in the next episode. All right, folks, hopefully you're enjoying this. Let me know in the comments section below. Anything I did, missed, I realized I missed the residual. It didn't come into play in this situation. Let me know if I missed anything else, and we'll talk about that at the beginning of the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.